There is a new film that you've surely seen ads for, and one that I've gotten a lot of questions about in the last couple of weeks, so I thought we'd do a report on it. It's called Conclave, and it purports to reveal the drama behind the process of choosing a new pope. The film is based on a book by author Robert Harris. It's a thriller with an outrageous stunt ending. For his take on the film, we're joined by syndicated radio host, best-selling author, Michael Medved. Michael, welcome back to the program. Delighted to see you. Tell me, I know you've screened this film. What was your expectation when you went in to see it?
Well, my expectation wasn't high because there's a long history of films about the Catholic Church that sort of view it as dark and conspiratorial and entirely negative. So the fact that the film concentrates on the Ralph Fiennes character, who is the dean of the College of Cardinals, and he's a very sympathetic character. However, you mentioned a stunt ending. This is an ambitious film. It's a serious film. The director, Edward Berger, previously directed the remake, acclaimed Oscar-winning remake of All's Quiet on the Western Front. The film is gripping and moving and fascinating until that stunt ending that you mentioned that ruins everything and is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, let's not give it away just yet. I want to build to it, and I'll do a little spoiler alert later because it's important in our discussion. But as you mentioned, Edward Berger, the director, he won the Oscar last year, and I sat down with him this week, Michael, to probe why he would make a film about this topic, a papal conclave, as his Oscar follow-up. Listen. Edward, you've said that there's an ethos to film making and that there has to be a reason to make a film. What was the reason in your mind to make this particular film?
Well, I was really interested about the ins and outs of a papal election, about what goes on behind those closed doors. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily only a papal election, but for me it stood as a larger political process. You know, it could have taken place in Washington, D.C. or within any big organization that's looking for the top job to fill, to see what happens when there's a vacuum of power and who wants to fill that, and what that does to the person, but also to what I really responded to, what my real reason to make the film is Rafe plays a character called Cardinal Lawrence that has struggles with sort of purpose or his reason for faith. And Michael, another part of the difficulty here, the problem here, might be something that Berger referenced. He sees this as essentially a political struggle for the papacy, like Washington, D.C., he said. So this is more of a political or ideological battle than a spiritual undertaking. Did you find the characters here particularly well drawn? I found them kind of cardboard cutouts at a point.
Well, I think most of the characters, you're right, because they're people you're just meeting, and they're basically classified very simplistically in the film's terms as good guys or bad guys. But one thing that was fascinating to me was there was a very gracious treatment of Ralph Fiennes, who's one of the producers, by the way, who plays a character who is deeply sympathetic and sincerely religious. That the difficulty is that because they are classifying the College of Cardinals as sort of separated down the middle by good guys and bad guys, what is fascinating about this film in a political sense is it's sending a message that what does matter in politics is not particularly your agenda or your platform, but your character. And the idea that so many of the caricatures on the College of Cardinals have characters that are deficient, that are hiding some guilty secrets in the past that do come tumbling out. That's a very difficult basis for a film.
Yeah, Michael, you mentioned Ralph Fiennes, who plays Cardinal Lawrence. He's the dean of this College of Cardinals, in charge of managing the conclave. He's also riddled with doubt. Watch. Ralph, you seem to be drawn to these types of characters. The end of the affair, faith healer. I saw you on Broadway many years ago, even Hamlet. Is there something that draws you to these particular characters? I mean, this is a character wrestling with his own doubts, he almost elevates doubt to a cardinal virtue. I mean,
I think yes, he gives my character, Cardinal Lawrence, who's the Dean of the Vatican. He's responsible for running the conclave, and it's his duty to give a homily, a sermon at the beginning in which he emphasizes the importance of doubt. In this context, I think it's about being open. It's about avoiding certainty and rules and dogma it has an emphatic structure and says that this is right and that's wrong. I think he's saying we have to be open. We have to be open for all kinds of stuff that we don't know, and that's doubt, that's asking questions.
Now, Michael, there you have the theme that really does run through the whole film. Doubt and the repudiation of dogma and certainty. Compare this, if you will, to other religious epics like A Man for All Seasons or even Shoes of the Fisherman, where the certainty of faith beyond nature is what propels and powers those stories and those characters.
No, that's absolutely true. And you don't have to go that far back. There was recently, I thought, a remarkably good film made about the two popes, starring Jonathan Pryce and Anthony Hopkins, playing actually Pope Francis and the late Pope Benedict. And that film did not center on their greatness because of doubt. And that equivalent of noble character with the presence of doubt and uncertainty does seem to be one of the bases that leads to the film, as I indicated, and again, no spoilers here from me, but the end of the film is very frustrating. Even people with it are going to have that reaction.
Well, look, if my email is any indication, Michael, the final election of the Pope in this Conclave movie is going to infuriate serious Catholics. Because to Catholics, it's not about selecting a president or king.
Or moviegoers. It's infuriating from an artistic point of view, not just a religious point of view.
Yeah, no, it ends up being a stunt and a total, in some ways, it does reinforce this idea, though, of doubt and certainty is an evil. You know, it does undermine that. But look, this is the selection for Catholics of a faith leader, a representative of Christ on earth, the vicar of Christ, who will protect the deposit of faith. Okay, here's the spoiler alert. Okay, I'm issuing this to all our viewers. The cardinal they choose in the third act is a biological woman with some birth anomaly. I asked the director, Edward Berger, Ray Fiennes, and Isabella Rossellini about this. There is a visual power to the composition of these scenes, the drama of this. Here's the problem I think you're going to have, and I've heard from a lot of Catholics. You all were raised Catholic, all of you in some way, or had some association with the church. I know you're going to get ferocious backlash for this movie from faithful Catholics. Is that a concern for you as you were making it?
No. And to be honest, I doubt, but, you know, let me be surprised. I doubt that it'll be ferocious backlash. I hope it invites discussion, because all we need to do is discuss with each other, have an open discourse, be able to disagree with each other without hating each other, but learning from each other. That's the main thing about making a movie like this. You know, that there's opposing political forces. Who am I to say who's right or wrong? You know, in the end, this one person wins. But anyway, so I think, you know, we didn't try to make a, you know, critical takedown of the church.
But there's an awful lot of internal corruption here at play in this conclave.
Yeah, but
I mean, these guys are.
But this documentation of corruption in the Catholic Church exists.
Oh, without a doubt, in every institution.
There are also other cardinals that are very spiritual.
But yeah, there are a few of those. But the question is, did you all have any hesitancy when you read the script about this may inflame tensions?
I mean, I felt the opposite of you. I feel that the film is incredibly religious, because the religions deal with the mystery, the doubt, the non-answer. And the film, once finally they have the answer, and yet the film ends with this incredible mystery and his answer, God made me this way. And I think it's incredibly religious and kind.
Now, Michael, I thought Berger said they were against saying what was right and wrong. I'm not so sure Catholics will feel that way, and I wonder if they or anyone would make a movie about, say, a transgendered grand imam being elected. Your reaction?
Well, there are very few grand imams who appear in this film, but
Yeah.
though they do have, and again, not to give anything away, but one of the members of the College of Cardinals is a cardinal who represents Kabul, which I don't think is a reality in the current constitution of the College of Cardinals institution. Look, the idea is they come back to making a film about the world's most prominent and important religious institution, which is the Catholic Church. And they make a film about that institution where the organizing principle of the whole film, and you heard it right there from the filmmakers, is doubt.
Yeah.
And I think this is honestly a real problem in our society, and one of the reasons that people are so unhappy and so torn, and they all think that society is going in the wrong direction, because the highest virtue would appear to be, in the eyes of what we just heard from the filmmakers, the ability to feel doubt and uncertainty. And in terms of choices between good and evil, which sometimes are very clear in our world, and the idea of exalting the idea of a doubt above all other, quote, virtues, I think is dubious, to say the least. And for people of faith, including non-Catholic people of faith, I think this is a problem.
Yeah, well, basically, Conclave seems to suggest that all the things Jesus Christ taught are holding the church back, and if those things are overthrown, then the church can thrive. I mean, it's kind of a pagan's version of religion, all the ritual with none of the belief or dogma. You wrote an entire book years ago, Michael, about how hostile Hollywood is to religion and people of faith. I'll give you the last word and how this fits into that trajectory, if you will.
Well, it fits into the trajectory not because this is so much a focus of Hollywood or Hollywood movies or television shows or programs or anything in mass media. What is a focus in mass media is a portrayal of America where the importance of religious faith in the lives of people is consistently downplayed. One of the points I make in Hollywood versus America, that book you're talking about from 1992, is the idea that every year in this country, there are more people who attend church and synagogue than there are people who go out to the movies. And it's not really close, because despite the fact that, yes, people look at figures on church attendance, the majority of Americans still describe ourselves as believers in God. And the most people have some connection with and some identification with religious faith. And the fact that that is so underplayed in the depictions of American life across the country makes this movie worth pointing to, because it is, in so many ways, it's lavish, the sets and the costumes and the recreation of the Vatican, and there is a little bit of a sense of awe that is communicated here. All of that is going on, and yet the payoff is, as you rightly observed, I mean, I think very dubious, and one of those things that will frustrate moviegoers of every faith and of no faith.
Yeah, no, I was really looking forward to seeing it. I did see it. At the end of the day, I thought it was, it's a lot of black smoke. We're still awaiting the white smoke from Conclave. Michael Medved, thank you for being here. And you can listen to the Michael Medved Show. Read his columns at michaelmedved.com. Thank you.